Hello and welcome back. It's been a while, but I'm still here and I have a bunch of races to show you. So yeah, this is just a bunch of versus the communities that I recorded but just didn't put out because I didn't have the time. It's been a very stressful last month, so this versus the community I think is actually almost exactly a month old. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's C-Class commentator cars here at Road Atlanta, getting past the Eagle Talon there. I had a pretty good start, started P11 in the Super B here up into P5, so really making use of the acceleration there, going through these S's here at Road Atlanta short, following the MX5 there, just getting a small bump, just trying to stick with him through these corners here. I had a good amount of speed. It was okay through the corners, my car, nothing fantastic though. Its main point was probably acceleration and speed. And Mira didn't actually go off track there, that was just lagged, so yeah, that kind of scared me a bit, lifted off. Still got past the MX5 though, even before the braking zone on the brakes, relatively nicely, just a bit late, and a small lockup as well, but managed to make the corner. So up into P4 here now, so within a lap I've gained 7 positions if my maths didn't fail me, so pretty good start. So it actually took me quite a while to catch up to the other cars at the front. So catching up to Ollie now in the Isetta into the braking zone here, just trying to pull up alongside. I have the Apex there, and into this next one he's going to back out wisely, not wanting to fight the point against a car that's probably like, I don't know, 4 times his size. But yeah, I was struggling to sort of, I had caught up to him, but I just couldn't get past because his car weighs like absolutely nothing, so it was just flying out of the corners. I was better pretty much everywhere else, but his acceleration was just too much, but did finally manage to get past him here. Now catching up to this mercedes-benz here, who runs wide through turn 1 there, just making up some more time on him as we now go into this crest, beginning the S's there. He gets a bit out of shape, takes the first part wrong, puts him offline for the rest of the S's. He runs wide there, going onto the grass, so I just make sure to give him a lot of space, run wide a bit myself, but still managed to get up into second place. And looking at the distance marker, you can see Muri is quite a way up the road, so yeah, I wasn't going to catch him. So moving on to the end of lap 8, we still have that one buffer lap just for the replays. There we go, finished P2 there, pretty decent race, and this was actually my last race for THR. Yeah, my last race for THR was a versus the community. My first one was versus the community, both around an American track with a car that had a V8, so interesting coincidence. But yeah, pretty decent race. Have a couple more in store. Maybe not the most action-packed race, really not a lot of racing, just made the most of other people's mistakes and tried working with my car's strong points of acceleration. Alright, so moving to the next race here. This is C-Class Japanese cars, I think. I have an interesting marker at the top which says network issue low bandwidth, which is practically impossible because I'm connected with an Ethernet cable. But anyway, starting P8 there, I think, getting another decent start up into P5 immediately, going into turn 1, a bit of chaos on the outside, just managed to squeeze through on the inside there, up into P3, Glisker though, immediately on my inside there, just going to go around the outside. I just had way more handling than he did, so up the hill into 3rd place. However, his car had a lot of speed, so he's going to be able to go down my inside. Again, managed to hold it on the outside though, just with that superior grip. Going into the fast turn 5 and 6 chicane there, Stinty up ahead in an S800 running over the curb, getting up on 2 wheels, so easily just managed to get past him there before we go into the hairpin here. So up into P2, pretty good start. West in the lead as well, is also in one of these RX-7s, so I'm going to see if I can try and hunt him down. Now, it wasn't really working. I was catching him a bit, but just not enough, and Impega was catching me way more, so he actually had to look down my inside at the final turn there. But on the start-finish straight, I do have a bit more straight line speed than he did. However, his car was stupidly good through the corners, had a lot of grip. So going into turn 1 here on the brakes relatively nicely there, maybe a bit early even, hooking up with the Apex quite nicely though, and getting a decent exit, bit of a slide. But going into turn 2 now, he's still very close behind. You can see the arrow there lighting up orange as we run up to the fast turn 4 here. He's relatively close, not really in a place to go for a move up the inside. And going into turn 5 and 6 chicane, I think he's also going to back out there, not wanting to go too wide. so just get a bit of a slide there on the exit. So I'm gonna go to defensive here just to make sure it doesn't go up my inside into the hairpin there. Hook up relatively nicely, get a decent exit. However, he just managed to get more traction there and just put his car alongside. So I have to give him space there on the outside. You can just see how much grip he has in that car. He still has a decent amount of acceleration, so into this next turn I'm going to try and go in deep, try and run him out wide a bit, but eventually I just have to secede that position because I can't just run him off track. So he manages to get up into second place for now. Maybe I can try and attack him going back into turn 1 here. Had an okay run through the final turn, nothing amazing though. And I'm going to try and use my straight line speed here. Actually, it turned out that this car was one of, I think, if not my first tune, then one of my first tunes on Forza 7, and it was a homologation tune that just so happened to be in C-Class. So it was quite a compromised build, actually. So yeah, Impega into turn 1 there. He's going to manage to defend it on the inside. I think I was on the brakes later, and into turn 2. I'm not going to fight the point any longer. So after that, I thought I was safe in my third place. However, that was not to be. As you can see, there's another car behind me, an MX-5 Super 20 driven by Jem. He just goes for a gap that wasn't quite there. We make some contact. He lets me go past though again, so no foul there. Right on my rear bumper through the final turn, going onto the start finish straight again. He's in that Super 20. I've never actually driven that car. I just bought it with a specialty dealer this week. I seem to have pretty even straight line speed. Just have a slight advantage over him as we get to the end of the straight there. On the brakes, I'm on the brakes a lot better than he is. He goes in deep, but that's going to give him a better run out of the turn there. He does manage to hold it alongside, just understeer a bit too wide, make some contact, and I just let him go because of that. So yeah, kind of lost another position because of a mistake on my part, just understeered a bit too wide. Still managed to bring home 4th place. Not the best race, of course. I would have liked to have had a podium, but I don't know if that really was possible in this car with this build at least. But yeah, still an okay race, managing to make up 4 positions. Had a good little fight with Impega and also another one with Jem. But yeah, let's get into the next race. Alright, moving to the next race. We are at Mugello in B-Class cars from like old B-Class cars, like 1959 or older, I think it was. So yeah, starting in P11, I think. Getting a decent launch, just everyone seemed to have more straight line speed than me. So going into turn 1 here at Mugello, always a tricky one. I can't see my braking point, lock up massively there. Luckily though, I managed to not take anyone out, just hindered Manny a bit. However, he was fine. I think I only lost a couple of positions there, so it could have been a lot worse, but still not a great start at all. Down into P16 here, so a lot of work if I want to try and get into a better position. Jag in front of me just can't get turned through those corners there. However, he's going to have a lot of straight line speed. Look at that thing go, just hauls ass. So into this next turn here, he's going to box in Alex on the inside there. I just managed to get around the outside. Clean overtake there, up into P14, killing 2 birds with 1 stone there. So at least 2 positions made up now into this next chicane here. Downhill, pretty tricky in my opinion. Going through here, it's 2 or 3 wide up ahead, and there's going to be a crash. Caution markers, just managed to avoid that. Another 3 positions again, so up into P11 now. I have another large pack in front of me right there, so I've managed to make up a couple positions now from sort of other people's mishaps there. Another crash, another 3 cars off, so up into P8 now. Having my position that I had after turn 1 into the next chicane now. Hooking up very nicely with the first apex there. Also with the second one pretty nicely. F1 car runs out a bit wide there. Try and catch up to him into this braking zone right here. He's on the brakes, maybe a bit early, slides it in very nicely though. Hooks up with the apex there. I run out a bit wide, just trying to get a better exit here, which I managed to do there. However, this is a relatively fast chicane. Didn't really want to go too wide, get on the curb here, leave him plenty of space. There's some kind of incident up ahead. Someone spun across the track. I try and avoid it, but of course car bounces back into me. Not a lot I could have done. Maybe I should have tried going to the other side, but I don't know. Hindsight in that case doesn't really help me. Still, got caught up in another crash now, so back down into P15. So sort of all the luck I had kind of getting past people who crashed has pretty much been reversed and applied to me. So down into 14th place here at the end of lap 1, so very hectic. However, 2 guys are going to pull into the pits, no idea why, because sim damage wasn't on, but okay then, 2 free positions I guess. So moving on to lap 2 here, just catching up to this Chevy, and this is how you do a clean overtake up the inside, just on the brakes a bit later, hook up with the first apex very nicely, and get the drive out of the second one. Easy move up into P12 there, and moving on to the next lap, catching up to the Jag again. Reese, I think he had like 700 horsepower, so stupidly fast car in a straight line. You can just see that thing is a rocket on any kind of straight. So going into this downhill chicane here, just trying to follow him through these corners here. He's kind of holding me up a bit. I could go way faster through those corners there, but as soon as he gets any kind of straight, he just really pulls away through this fast corner here. Pretty much gonna go into the back of him there, really holding me up at this point. So I want to try and find a way past through there, just hooking up with the later apex there, trying to get a better run. However, it doesn't really matter, he just pulled away anyway. So into this next chicane here, he's gone in a bit early on the first apex, which is really going to compromise his line through the second one. So just managed to swoop around the outside, pretty much use him as an apex there. And you know, I thought I was ahead into this next turn. Nope, he still had the speed, but I'm going to go down the inside there, kept it on the inside line. Just going to hang him out to dry there. Not really much he can do at this point. We have a couple corners left before the next straight, so managed to make that move stick. In the end, there was another crash at the final turn, which I managed to avoid, so up into P8. Very hectic and strange race, but relatively fun, not too bad. Made up a couple positions, could have probably been a lot better. I think I had the fastest lap as well, but yeah, let's move into the next one. Alright, so that same evening I managed to get into race 3 here, so 13 laps around Sonoma Shore with a pit stop as well. A couple guys crashing on the start finish line there, making up 2 positions immediately up into 4th place here. Just following Aaron in a Chevy, Sheep in an F1 car, and Chris in a Hoonigan Chevy there. So just hanging back at the moment, having a look down the inside into this chicane sort of thing here. Managed to kind of get past, but I run wide there and just get off track, try and not hit him, and that's exactly what I do. I just kind of punt him. However, he told me to keep on going. So getting up into 3rd place there, definitely not the cleanest of overtakes, but I think he said it was fine. So going into this turn there, missing the apex there, not maximizing my line at all, getting up on the curb as well. So not a fantastic start to the lap after a relatively good launch through these S's here. Car should be pretty decent at this track, has okay handling, pretty good acceleration, brakes are pretty good. Could maybe use a bit more grip for this track, but yeah, should be okay. So through that fast turn there, again missing the apex, not really hooking up this lap so far, but it is the first one, and this race is going to be pretty long. Aaron on the brakes very early into the chicane, they're kind of putting me off, so Sheep manages to get up into the lead there. However, Aaron, I think he's going to try and fight that as we go into the start finish straight, just looking around the outside there, where he's going to graze the wall, it's going to slow him down. So I managed to stay in 3rd place. He runs wide. Chris gives me a speed boost pretty much to put me up the inside of Aaron there. However, he's going to give me another bump. Luckily didn't affect me. Aaron though is going to manage to hold on to 2nd place there. I think his car had a decent amount of grip. So then moving into the chicane again here on lap 2, still following Aaron, who is holding on to 2nd place quite well. However, he runs wide there, just going to leave him some space to rejoin, trying to get up the inside here into this next turn. Managed to make that move stick up into 2nd place now. However, Aaron, he's still relatively close, so he's going to have a look into the next corner. Going to go down my inside, just about leaving the space there at the end. I pretty much saw him last second. Going to get over the curb, going to try and fight the point. However, we're going into these S's here, and after that sort of tiny bit of contact, I didn't want to fight it any further. My car was probably going to lose out if we made contact. Do get a good run through there though, catching right back up to him again as we go into the fastest corner on the track here. Gonna have to take to the grass to not go into the back of him. He just runs a bit shallow, pushes me out wide. Bit of an unfortunate incident there. Chris there is going to catch up, rejoin at a shallow angle there to not cause some kind of crash. Chris going to try and go down the inside of Aaron there. I'm just kind of having to wait back at this moment in time. Not really much I can do. Chris does, I think, just about manage to pull that move off. Gets around the outside there. Aaron gets on the brakes there. Gonna have to pull to the inside and had a minor heart attack that Porsche was not going to be ghosted. But luckily he was. So trying to get up into 3rd place. Bit of contact there. Kind of strange. It really pinged our cars apart. But we both managed to recover. So yeah, back up into 3rd place. So halfway through the race here, Chris in 2nd place, he was staying in front of me. I was kind of struggling to get past. He had more acceleration than me, but I was catching him through the corners, I think. So it was really difficult to try and find a way past. So we're halfway through the race here. Sheep is still in the lead by about 600-700 feet. Chris has gone in, and Ollie has kind of caught up. I think he got past Aaron at some point, so he is relatively close. Just a bit later at the end of lap 7 here, catching up to 2 back markers, so I just decided to pit in order to lose as little time as possible. Going flying into the pit lane there, and we're just going to speed through the pit lane here. So I'm trying to kind of go on an undercut on Sheep to see if I can maybe put in some good laps and try and cut down his lead without being impeded by any kind of traffic. So exiting the pit lane there, if you look on the mini-map, you can see there's a huge train of cars behind me. Probably goes down to like P15 or something like that. So very good that I managed to come out in front of that. That's going to be crucial for the rest of the race. And there's also a big pocket of clean air in front of me. So now I'm going to try and put in some good laps till the end to see if I can cut down Sheep's lead and maybe try and challenge him for first place. So moving to the final lap there, going into turn 1, you can see Sheep has just gotten out of the pit, so I had 3 really good laps in succession there. I think they were the fastest laps of the race. However, really messing up that first section there, so Sheep does manage to get a bit of a gap. I have to try and capitalize on him as much as I can. He's on cold tires at the moment, however he's going to try and warm them up as quickly as he can. But I've still made good headway there, cutting down that 700 foot gap to like 150, or almost within striking distance. So going into this back section here, as you can see I'm almost a second down. Really messed up that first section there into the hairpin though. Sheep is going to mess up now. He's going to miss the apex there. I managed to hook up relatively nicely there. I'm going to try and not hit the curb too hard, but I do, so puts me sideways, kind of messes up my line going into the S's here. Still going to try and maximize my line through there anyway. Sheep gets a bit out of shape there, so he loses control, loses some speed, so I managed to catch back up to him pretty much right on his rear bumper as we go into this very fast turn. Hooks up with an apex nicely, but kind of slides out wide, so I have to lift off just a bit. He does have a bit more acceleration, so going into the hairpin, I'm going to go for the lunge on the outside here. Try the outbraking maneuver. I'm on the outside, going to try and get a good exit here, have a good shift up into second gear. Do manage to do so. I'm on the inside line. This is for the lead now. Final lap, just have the inside there. It's side by side going to the start finish line. He's just going to take it. He wasn't even completely ahead, so that was probably one of the closest finishes I've had. Definitely the closest finish for the lead. Still relatively happy with second place there. Good job to Sheep, he did everything he had to. But yeah, that was a good third race there. Overall, all those 4 races were pretty good. But yeah, this was kind of a bit of a holiday special because I finally had time to make this video. And all these 4 races, well, except the first one, I ran without a trigger stop on my brake trigger, so that's something I've removed now. Feels a lot better, and it's just something I wanted to get off my chest to stop using that. It was an aid that I used just so that I could race without ABS easier. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video, for this year probably as well. Thank you very much for watching and for the support. Happy holidays and happy new year. Goodbye.